In 1977, Manhattan went dark. The greatest emblem of American metropolitanism had been symbolically abandoned. The shining city on the hill snuffed out. Though work had already begun at that point on John Carpenter's landmark film, to be released in 1981, called Escape from New York, the 1977 blackout gave the film under development an uncanny sense of timeliness, if not fate. Escape from New York arguably influenced the later creation of Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear series more than any other movie besides John Sturgis's The Great Escape. Escape from New York is set in a near-future United States. The opening tells us that crime has skyrocketed to apocalyptic proportions, though you'll notice this may have more to do with changes to the law than any genuine increase in criminality.
There are no guards inside the prison, only prisoners and the worlds they have made. The rules are simple. Once you go in, you don't come out.
Whatever the true cause, the US in the film is so overrun with criminals that desperate measures must be taken. The island of Manhattan, locked in an apparent permanent 1977-style blackout, becomes a neo-Alcatraz. Giant walls bar all entry or exit, and the free market is left inside to do its work freely. That's right. The new prison island has no internal law and order. This slavery is freedom. Its laws, its only laws, are the laws of so-called nature. While the prisoners inside live like feudal serfs from the Dark Ages, if not outright animals, underground, high-tech computers and sensors ensure perfect petri dish-like containment. But when Air Force One gets hijacked by a bunch of terrorists, it forces the president to jettison himself into the maximum security island complex. Before the USPF military constables can recover him, the big cheese gets captured by the bigger cheese, the Duke of New York, played by the immortal Isaac Hayes. A squad of stormtroopers would make too much noise in doing some sort of search and rescue mission, so the USPF's commander, played by none other than the legendary gunslinger Lee Van Cleef, has only one card to play. That card's name is Snake Plissken.
All right. I'm not a fool, Plissken.
Call me Snake.
Snake's a former Special Forces commando, a so-called irregular, and he's forced to rescue the president in time for a major geopolitical summit only 24 hours away. The USPF strap a ticking time bomb on Snake's wrist, allowing the inexorable laws of the jungle to yet again do their bidding. Snake has no choice but to stay focused and complete his mission to order. His life, obviously, depends on it. Escape from New York depicts Snake's infiltration, which begins with a daring aerial insertion atop none other than the World Trade Center. Descending by night into the cesspool that's become of New York City, Snake undergoes a mini odyssey into the very heart of it. Along the way, Snake will pick up a few admirers and comrades, including Brain, played by Harry Dean Stanton. And even if he does get the president back by the end, Snake, in the end, has the last laugh, destroying the secret tape full of military science secrets the president planned on divulging during his big summit. Escape from New York has everything that would later define Metal Gear games. It wraps up a graphic novel-esque storyline around deep socio-political ideas, while playing knowingly with the cinematic form. Kurt Russell's Snake is like a version of Clint Eastwood from the Man with No Name saga, yet he's also a character all of his own. And this, of course, would be followed by the Snake character in Metal Gear, who is as much a version of Kurt Russell as he is a character of his own. The film's shoestring budget allowed for highly creative problem-solving during production. The visuals are incredibly dark, for example, even pitch black at times. This conceit would go on to heavily inspire the look of 1998's Metal Gear Solid. Escape from New York, much like MGS would later emulate, plays out mostly in real time, and there's a commitment to real time here that would arguably go on to inspire another very similar film years later called Die Hard. Like Die Hard and MGS, we're with our protagonist every step of the way here. We watch Snake get wounded and develop a limp, as one example. There are also a very video game-like progression of villains and bad guys in Escape from New York, leading up to the big boss, the Duke, himself. Snake's dynamic infiltration route takes him high and low, and his reputation gets him in as much trouble as it does win him new friends. Elements from one of the original themes in the film would be quoted note for note. In 2015, John Carpenter told The Hollywood Reporter that the co-owner of Escape from New York, the company Canal Plus, was looking to sue Konami for infringing on their IP. Fortunately, Carpenter dissuaded them, given he, quote, knows the director of those games and he's a nice guy, or at least he's nice to me, end quote. Homages to the 1981 classic can be found all throughout the MGS series. Here are just a few. Revolver Ocelot and Lee Van Cleef, the island setting of MGS 1 and 2, the apocalyptic repurposing of famous Manhattan landmarks like Federal Hall, the USPF and PFs, or Private Forces, including MGS 5's Black Ops Unit XOF, the female AI voice, the importance later in the series of cassette tapes. There's even a bit of the flick in the ending alleyway of PT. In closing, there would be no MGS without Carpenter's Escape from New York. It's a dystopian social satire in the vein of George Orwell's 1984, with enough action, vivaciousness, and suspense to satisfy any action flick fan. Check it out if you haven't already. Until next time, boss.
David 14, acknowledge. David 14, I'm calling air rescue.
Cav, okay.
Good.
S.D. Pliskin. American, Lieutenant, Special Forces Unit Black Light.
My name is Pliskin. Iroquois Pliskin, Lieutenant Junior Grade.
What's your name?
My name's not important.
Aha. Could you be Snake? Are you Solid Snake?
That's what some people call me.
The legendary Solid Snake? You?
Wait a minute. I know who you are. Yeah, but I heard you were dead.
He says he's Solid Snake.
Snake died 2 years ago.
About an hour ago, a small jet went down inside New York City. The president was on board.
President of what?
Hostages, huh?
A VIP from one of the major conservation groups, and one from our own government. The most important person in a sense.
The most important person?
James Johnson.
The president?
You can locate the president by his vital signs bracelet on his wrist. It sends off a sync pulse. Use this.
Do we know exactly where they're being held?
The DARPA chief has also been injected with a mini transmitter. As you get closer, you should be able to pick up his location on your radar.
In 22 hours, the Hartford Summit meeting will be over. China and the Soviet Union will go back home. Now, the president was on his way to this summit when his plane went down.
And tomorrow, the president and his Russian counterpart are scheduled to sign the START 3 Accord.
I get it. That's the reason for the deadline.
He has a briefcase attached to his wrist. The tape recording inside has to reach Hartford in 22 hours.
What's on it?
You know anything about nuclear fusion?
All right.
It's the survival of the human race, Pliskin. Something you don't give a shit about.
I'm going to inject you. He'll sting for a second or two.
Don't worry, this injection won't hurt a bit.
What's the shot for?
What's wrong? You don't like shots?
Don't move!
No, don't touch it!
C4.
They're Pliskins. So much for your man, Hulk.
Air traffic, this is Remy.
Our friends at Cypher suspect Paz could be a double agent. She's being held for interrogation at a camp on the southern tip of Cuba.
Black site. Nice. A slice of American pie on communist soil, and out of U.S. legal jurisdiction.
The upcoming inspection of Mother Base has to be connected somehow. The timing's too perfect.
The UN's nuclear inspection.
My guess is they're trying to corroborate Paz's leak.
We're an army without a nation.
Word of our capabilities gets out, and we'll have the whole world out to shut us down. Having an American private intelligence agency involved, bad news.